What is poverty? The definition of poverty is to be in the state of being extremely poor and or the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. Poverty is a social rights problem and a human rights injustice because it defeats our right to adequate living conditions. Poverty is a problem that affects millions of people worldwide and 2.5 million in Australia alone. To truly understand poverty, you must learn what poverty is really like. An article from BuzzFeed gave stories from people who know what it's like and have survived poverty. One of the stories was this. Poor people wait to buy something until they absolutely need it, so they have to pay whatever the going price is at that moment. If 10 packs of paper towels are on sale for half price, that's great, but you can only afford one roll anyway. In this way, poor people actually pay more than others for common staple goods. The graph shown on screen shows the statistics of people in a state of poverty within Australia. The graph comes from homelessnessoz.net and shows that only 18% of people in poverty find a bed with help services. 18% of people sleep on the streets of the city, 20% of people only have temporary living conditions, and 45% of people are stuck living with family and friends. There are growing numbers of people who live in poverty, and some of these people can directly relate to job loss when the car manufacturing companies move from Australia and so many other job loss factors in the country. The Salvation Army are a charity-based foundation dedicated to helping the less fortunate. One of the ways you can help, being a person who is not affected by the horrors of poverty, could be to donate to the Salvation Army or other charity funds to stop poverty. In Australia, we have unacceptably high levels of poverty. In 2008, 12% of Australians were found to be living in poverty, which is a higher proportion than the OECD average. The risk of poverty for Australian sole parents is extremely high at 70%. This means that 12% of the population live on less than half of the median average income. Older Australians are also particularly affected by poverty. For single people aged over 65, the income poverty rate is 50%. The highest of all countries in the OECD. In 2010, the Australian government passed legislation expanding the operation of compulsory income quarantining to apply all the vulnerable welfare payment recipients across the Northern Territory. Previously, the income management had only applied to Aboriginal communities as part of the Northern Territory emergency response. The measure is punitive in nature and its operation is not based on reliable or credible evidence to support its effectiveness. In my opinion, if we were to change the current legislation, I would apply it to all states in Australia, not just the Northern Territory and Aboriginal communities. Fight poverty. Fight poverty. Fight poverty. Fight poverty. Fight poverty. Fight poverty. Help us end poverty today.